Well, good day to all you SuiteCast listeners out there. Today I'm sitting here with Alex Majeka. Alex is owner and operator of Das Fenster Magazine, and I'll let you have a sneak peek at their site here. They're the German language magazine in America for 114 years, and they totally run and operate their magazine with SuiteFlow. And today, Alex and I are going to have a conversation here, just real simple and sweet, about how to set up topics for his magazine. They come up with a magazine 6 times a year, and he's wanting to use topics to really organize all of his items under one topic for that magazine. And SuiteFlow will do that. So we're going to let you guys sit in on our conversation. Say hi, Alex.
Good morning.
It's good to see you today. Let me
It's good to be seen.
let me hide this back here again. So we'll start here on the home screen, and we're actually in Alex's copy of SuiteFlow here, and we're going to take a peek at how he's been using topics right now. For those of you that don't know what topics are in SuiteFlow, just think of it as project management, but we call it topics of conversation. So it could be that your conversation is about a support contract with a client that is ongoing, and you use a topic to manage all of the conversation around that. Or it could be a sales opportunity, which is how it's used a lot. In a sales opportunity with a company, and you're going to have multiple touches or multiple contacts with multiple people in order to close that deal. Topics work wonderfully for that as well. So whether it's service or whether it's support or whether it is sales or whether it's internal projects, topics is how you manage all those things. So Alex, we're going to go ahead and head on over to your list of topics. And why don't you talk to us a little bit about what we're seeing here? I see, first of all, a lot of things I can't pronounce. But I see magazine production here, and then I have ad sales. It looks like different, maybe, organizations?
Every one of those is a different potential advertiser in the magazine.
Okay.
And so I set it up that way to try to keep track of my contacts with them and figure out where we are in that process of potentially selling an advertisement to them.
Okay.
And I just ended up with so many that my question was, I was not sure if this was the correct way to organize myself in this advertising sales environment.
Okay, gotcha. Well, let's see if we can't combine those things. Let's find a way of doing that. And listeners, we really are flying a little bit by the seat of our pants here. So here we go. So the first thing we'll do is let's go ahead and create a new topic. When, as I understand it, I think you've just finished your magazine cycle. Is that right?
That's correct.
So you're about to start a new magazine.
We have started a new one. The last one mailed 2 days ago, and so we're in the process of working on the next one.
All right, great. Well, first let's talk about how we name our topics. When you create a new topic, you get this here, and it's just so it has a unique name, unless you choose for some reason not to rename it. But we are, and the naming of your topics are important because you want, I'm going to go back to the list real quick. You want to be able to sort topics and group them together, and it looks like you've kind of done that already here, a good bit. So I'm going to go back into this guy. So for the magazine, what do we want to name that?
I think the simplest would be just to name it the months of the cover.
Okay.
Because we come out bi-monthly 6 times a year, so the next one would be the May-June magazine.
Okay. What about this idea? What if we did so that we can, because you're going to have other things that are going to be date sensitive. What if we start out with the topic name of being DFM, Das Fenster Magazine?
Okay.
And that'll cause us to be able to find other topics and omit these if we ever need to.
Okay.
So this will be the magazine for what?
For May and June.
Okay. Is that how you do it, May/June?
Yep.
Then? And probably want to do it this way. You always kind of think backwards in terms of how you sort things. So you want to put your year in there first. And that way you can sort DFM. You can do a search or a sort by the name, and it's going to then sort all your 2019 together.
Okay.
All right. So I think that's probably all going to name this, right? And this is going to be an internal topic. We can give it values, probabilities. We don't have to do all that right now. You can even come up with markets and whatnot, but we're not concerned about that. We will be taking advantage of phases, but we're going to kind of get to that. So the first thing we want to do is put together our, our parties. So parties are people that are in your person database that are going to be helping or assisting with this. So obviously, one would be you.
That's correct.
Right? So we're going to put in Alex here. Probably shouldn't have done that way, should I? We'll put your last name here, Majeka. There we go. We have Alex at Das Fenster. So we're going to add you, and your role is, we'll just say you're the client at this point. And then we're going to also add me for purposes of the movie right now. And here we go. And then we'll also add Anthony or Tonine, your assistant, right?
Yep.
There we go. Okay. And I'll be your developer, we'll say. And Tonine will be also a client. We can edit, by the way, Alex, this list and come up with different titles there. We don't need to do that right now, but that's set in your master settings. Because you probably won't just have, like support worker or whatever on this for internal projects. All right, so we're going to close that down. And now we have our topic created, and we've got our parties. Now you can see here that we can have, hopefully the coughing's going to stop, pardon me, but we can have activity and phases and resources. We'll do a little bit of that right now. The ones that I'm going to really want to focus on are going to be phases with this, I think. Okay. Now, I think if memory serves me right, and I'm not positive of this, had you worked on a little bit what goes on to make the magazine happen? Have you already done some phases with that?
In SuiteFlow?
Yes.
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
No problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to this topic, but I'm going to pop a Ricola here. We're going to come back to the topic, but first we're going to come to what we call phase master sets. And you want to set these up one time and then use them repeatedly as you do new issues. Okay? So we already had one that looks like, I think I remember us just talking about this, but never really did anything. So magazine production is probably the right name for this, right?
That's correct.
All right. So we don't have to get it perfect right now because this is going to require some thought on your part that will be an evolutionary kind of thing. And you'll come in here and tweak this from time to time as you like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But just so people can kind of get an idea here, and you too, what are some of the first things that you have to do? And we can change the rank. So if you want, we can just start making a big list, and then we can come back and rank them.
Okay. Well, so I have to help with letters to the editor.
Okay.
Because they come here first, and then I send them to Germany.
Okay. All right. And what's something else?
Okay. Then I've got to prepare and arrange advertising pages.
Okay.
So the ads come through me as we have the results of our sales efforts. And so I have to take all of that and put it in a form that will go to the graphic artist.
Excellent. Okay. So is that name good enough for now?
Yes.
Keep going.
Then we should add something in there about mailing list preparation, because we have to, do some things to get expired readers off of there, make sure we have all the new ones on there.
Okay, so right here in the notes, watch what I do here. So, and I do this for myself. In other words, you can never have too many notes. It's too easy to forget things nowadays. And so, case in point, what did you just say?
I said that I need to remove expired readers.
Okay.
And make sure that all the new readers are updated in SuiteFlow, and just making sure the list is as complete as it can be before we start creating those lists and sending them to the.
Gotcha.
And then I guess in the same category it would be actually to generate the list. We have 4 different lists we generate that we send to the printer.
Well, that would probably be another phase then.
Or we could make that a separate phase.
So you're working first. You're gonna, before you generate it, you got your mailing list preparation, and now you got your mailing list generation.
Mailing list generation.
Okay.
We have 4 different ones that we have to generate.
All right, we'll tab on over there. Every time you see this phase in use, you're going to see these notes.
Okay.
And when you think about just not yourself, but other users in your organization, it just makes it real clear what's supposed to be being done. All right, what else do we have?
Well, as far as what I do on a regular basis, that's pretty much.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Then we're going to go to proofing.
Okay. So do you send your magazine out to a graphic artist for all the layout?
Yes.
Would that be?
Well, I actually, that would, for my part of that, that's under the prepare ad pages.
Oh, gotcha.
Because when I've got all that advertising material together, I send it to him, and so that would be part of that prepare ad pages phase.
Okay, you can keep it there. Consider this: each one of these phases can be assigned to you, okay, or to someone else, and also to a team of users. Then it shows up on your home screen as the next thing that needs to be completed. So if you think of phases, it's not as just a stage of the magazine development, but instead as tasks that have to be accomplished. You might find that you expand this list quite a bit, and it might be something like send magazine content to graphic artist.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one would be receive magazine content back from graphic artists. And that way you can see exactly the status of the things that have not yet been completed.
I got you.
So we won't do that for purposes of our SuiteCast right now, but I think it's good to mention that. You might want to.
That makes sense.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So then now here's the fun rub. First, I'm going to come back here. I'm going to go ahead and assign these to you, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there's a way to do it in mass, but we had so little that we didn't worry about it. Actually, and we'll assign one of these when it's I'm going to add me as a team. I'm logged in as myself right now, so your phases would not show up on my home screen unless these phases were assigned to a team,
okay,
and I was a member of that team. Okay, so now we've got this magazine production. We've set up some phases for it. Let me delete number 5. We're going to come back here because there's one other thing that I want you to see. Okay, so I'm going to go back to where we were. Now we're on the topic. And now we're going to be able, on phases, to add phases from that magazine production. So start thinking out of the box a little bit. Whatever things that you do over the course of your business day, year in, year out, you can set up as phases, and they would be added to this list, and you could add them to other topics.
So the things that we just created, that list of 4, that's kind of a basic template of stuff that's happening every month. And I will just take that every month and add it into the topic.
Into the new issue.
The new issue topic.
Yep,
okay.
like what we're going to do right now.
Okay.
We're going to say it's not applicable right now because we haven't chosen anything.
Right.
So we're going to click this, and it says you want to use these 4 master phases. Click that, and now you're going to arrive, and you're going to be seeing the 4 phases. They're ranked. Now you could edit this without editing the magazine production master.
Mm-hmm.
You could come here and say that order coffee, which is very important. He's smiling.
It's critical.
It is critical. And
It's critical for attitude.
that's right. And you could say that, and you can use decimals, so you can say that's a 0.5, put that at the top of the list. And when you click out here, then it'll resort. Now,
So I can see where it would be very important to go back to that master phases list and make sure we had everything
yes.
thought through
Yeah.
and how we wanted to put in, what we wanted to have in there.
Yeah.
And like you said, the one for sending the material out to the graphic designer, the other one for receiving the finished material back.
Correct.
I got it. Okay.
Yep.
I got you.
And and the beauty of this is that once you've thought through it once, then you can relax and you don't have to really think through it again. And you know,
I can actually see where inside that mailing list preparation, there would be subcategories through there of different specific things we have to do to the list
right.
to get it ready. And so I could put those as individual items
Into phases.
as an individual phase
Yes.
in this master phase list.
That's right, exactly. So now I added the coffee here, but of course that hadn't been added to the master. Okay. All right. So now, right now we're looking at display incomplete phases. Notice that we can display all active or incomplete. Now I'm going to choose active so you can see nothing is active right now. Therefore, the status of the topic is active up here. Okay?
Okay.
And let's see here. So what we want to do is we want to activate our first phase. And we're going to do that by clicking here.
Okay.
But before we do that, and really, I missed one thing that I should have shown. Down here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete all phases. Do that early on because we haven't really set anything. We can get them right back in there. I want to tell you about team. And you need to set up the team prior to adding the phases. Otherwise, you have to add the team to each of the phases individually. Okay? And so we're going to go back to the Go-To menu. We're going to go to User Teams. And here we're going to see that we've got Das Fenster Project Team, Das Fenster General, email subscription settings, and you got 2 users for each of those teams. What I think we're going to do here, we're going to create a new team, and we're going to call it Magazine Production.
Okay.
All right. And then we're going to add to this team 3 users. And because I've added myself, see, now we'll be able to see this. So I'm going to go back to the topic. I'm going to come to phases. And now, got to do one other thing. Yeah, so I'm going to come here, and now I'm going to add this team to this topic. Okay, so we'll say
Magazine Production.
Magazine Production. Great. And now we're going to use the 4 phases. And now the team is going to be linked to each of those phases. We're going to jump and look at the phases. You know, this is your list icon, and it'll always expand the portal that you're looking at here. So we'll jump over here. And now you'll see that the team is linked to each of the phases. So we're on the actual phase list. We can open this up, which is, you will end up working from this screen quite a bit because you have a lot of place for notes and results and whatnot. And you also can see activity that's tied directly to the phase, not just to the topic.
Okay.
And that's very important when in just about 2 or 3 minutes here when we start talking about your sales. Okay. So let's go back to the topic by clicking its icon. Now we've added this, and we're going to activate. We're going to go ahead and add the coffee again. I think you're getting the idea that I like coffee. Mm-hmm. 0.5. All right. Okay, and so now we're going to activate the first, and watch what happens on our status when I do this. Okay, so now we can tell that the order coffee is active, okay? And we see now that the status of the whole topic is order coffee. So get your mind around that the phases kind of drive the bus where the topic is concerned. That's what's really driving everything. another nice thing about that is that if we come back to our home screen and we go to topics, that scene, pardon me, I mean phases, pardon me, and we come to team phases, look what I see. Now, these are my phases that I need to be doing, but these are all the phases of which I could be working on potentially. Follow?
Gotcha.
And I can type notes here. I can also say that I've completed this. And when I complete it, watch what happens to the topic. Are you ready? Now look, letters to the editor became active. Because look, I'm looking at only active phases here.
Right.
And so the beautiful thing about this is that you don't have to run, when you're working with multiple people, you don't have to run from desk to desk and say, okay, I did this, so now could you maybe do what you need to do? The even a beginner SuiteFlow user can understand to, look at their phases to know what it is they need to be doing.
Very good.
Okay, so let's go back to that topic. Now let's talk about the way that you're managing your sales.
Okay.
All right. And this is going to be something that you can set up ahead of time, but we're not going to do that for purposes of our SuiteCast right now. We're going to go ahead and do this, and then we'll reverse engineer, and later you can set up your phases ahead of time.
Okay.
All right. I'm making an assumption here that as each issue comes out, you have repeat advertisers.
I have a core group of about 7 or 8 advertisers that right now are on a standing order, and they will be in every month.
Okay.
And then I sell around that to bring in more
Okay.
clients at the same
Excellent.
time.
Okay, great. You are going to set up later another master phase list
Okay.
that is going to be DFM or magazine advertisers.
Okay.
And this is going to be used to pull in phases here on the screen. See, you don't have to, you can come up here, and if you have multiple items, you can choose another item and add those phases. It doesn't replace the phases you currently have. And then you can rank them and say, okay, I need to do this, this, and this, and this. But,
Will they be added to the same screen at the end of this list, or will it open up a new screen?
it'll
with
be
just those?
added here, and
Okay.
and based upon where you have it ranked, it'll be sorted that way.
Okay.
Okay. Now, another nice thing about this, and let's go ahead and do this because this is pretty slick what we're about to see. Let's go ahead and add one of your advertisers.
One of the current ones that's
Yep.
always in?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So I'm just going to click here because you need to communicate with them about the magazine, right?
Right.
And good luck with me. You probably have to spell this out for me.
Merz, M-E-R-Z.
Okay. M-E-R-Z?
Yep.
Okay. And let's see how we want to name this. Let's think about this. Let's do, because we might want to, once again, group our phases together by topic. Bad choice of words, but by content. Mm-hmm. You follow? So we're going to say DFM, add, MERS.
Okay.
Can you go with that?
Yes.
Okay. And that's going to be assigned to you. Pardon me. That's going to be assigned to you.
Okay.
And let's do another one. So it's going to be DFM, add, and who else we got?
Rondo, R-O-N-D-O.
Okay. All right, and I think 2's enough for you to start getting the idea here, right?
Okay.
So now, there are people that you're going to communicate with, and I know that advertising for every magazine is critical to the success of the magazine. So it's important that you communicate with various people, right? So how are you going to know quickly how you can communicate? And what if you need to communicate with all of these advertisers as a group? Hey, the magazine's coming along great. that this is the deadline to get any changes to your artwork into us, etc. Watch this. Come back to your detail. And now we're going to add parties to this topic that are going to be other people that you want that are involved with this topic. And it's going to be your advertiser contacts. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to say manage parties. And probably just the company name might be the best way of doing this.
Well, they're in SuiteFlow.
Right.
Okay.
So I typed MERS. And so who is it this one right here?
Yep, it is.
All right. So we're going to select. And now we're going to come up. We are going to edit this real quick. And we're going to come up with a new item in the drop down. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm just going to come here. I'm going to go all, and I'm going to choose Settings Master. And now we're going to go to Topics, which will be underneath, pardon me, Extra Fields and Lists. And now you've got Topic, and then here is your party role list. So we're going to add to that Advertiser. Is that acceptable with you?
Yes.
Great. I'll close that. Here we are now. When we manage our party here, and I click in here, now I have Advertiser. So we're going to go ahead and add now another one. And it's going to be the Rondo, I think it was.
Yes.
R-O-N-D-O. And is this it?
Yep.
Okay. I see we don't really have a person there. Do you?
I don't have a person there.
Okay.
I very rarely have to send them an email.
Okay.
It's just a regular thing.
Gotcha.
On a regular
Okay.
basis.
No
But
problem. Give me one more advertiser that might have an email address and all of that.
Judy Laird.
L-A-I-R-D?
Yep.
All right.
There she
And
is.
she's down here?
Yep.
All right. Select. And advertiser. Okay, so you're getting the idea that you're putting in your parties anybody that you're going to be communicating with about Fenster Magazine 2019 May and June. Okay?
Okay.
And each one of these advertisers that you've added needs to have a phase for this topic. Now here's why. The phase is going to allow you to group all of your communication for that potential sales opportunity together so that you don't have to sort through in your activities when you start entering all the conversations and the emails that you're sending out. And you're going to have a long list there. And when you're on the phone with the individual from MERS and you're talking with them and you want to see the previous conversations you've had surrounding this issue to remember what's been said. Because, I mean, you're one man who communicates with a massive amount of people, right?
Right.
And it's tough for anyone to remember. And
I'm thinking right now. There's an email I needed to send to them. I can't remember if I did it or not.
there you go. Okay, great. So the ease of this would be that you would keep the advertisers here as active phases. In other words, you can have more than one. So you come here and watch. You're going to activate that phase. And you're going to activate this phase. Okay? Now, because you've done that, back on your home screen, when you go underneath your phases, and, we can't really, you can kind of see it because I'm a team member, you're going to see everything that's going on here, and you'll be able to jump directly to that phase if you can't remember what, and look at the activity that's been done underneath it. Now, I'm going to show you how easy it is to link, and it's kind of a secret thing.
Okay.
And so you need a sweet master to tell you how to do this. All right, I'm just being silly. Okay, so it's time, let's say, to communicate with one of the advertisers. And, it's fine to work from the topic too. So let's say you come here and let's see here. And I am not showing up here. Oh, I know why. One last thing I forgot to do, Alex. on the topic when I set it up, I didn't say that it's a hot topic. And so right here, either here or on the actual topic screen, you can click the flame, and when it's burning, obviously it's hot.
Okay.
It's only hot topics that show up back on the home screen. You can imagine how, when you're really using SuiteFlow heavily, how many topics you could have. And you want to limit the list that you're really looking at here. You can go to any topic at any time. But these are the topics that are the most important right now that you're working on.
Okay.
All right. So now because it's hot, I'm seeing that on my home screen because I'm a team member. Okay. So I'm going to come here. Now, here's how you would create, one way that you create activity. Right here, you'll see that you've got a new activity button next to each person that's linked.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got MERS here. You got Alex Kimler, and so we can just click New Activity from here. Now, doing this automatically links the activity to the topic, but remember, we're wanting to link it to the phase.
Correct.
So underneath here, if you click here, there's an invisible drop-down list that shows all of the phases that are linked to this topic.
Okay.
And so you would choose MERS. Now, now you can see the phase here. A phase button appeared. And if I click that, I can actually edit notes in the phase itself. Follow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now you could make your notes. You know, I called him. Pardon me. I called him and sent email follow-up. And right here, you could click your email icon and there, and type your email message, press send, which we won't do, of course. And now you've just communicated with him, but more importantly, you've also, I've got my timer set to run, so I see what all time I'm putting in and everything. I can kind of break down my efficiencies if I need to. I'll go ahead and turn the timer off by clicking the button. And I'll go back to the activity window. So you can just toggle in between the email. Notice that the activity is at the top, and then you have your email options at the bottom down here. And you can just jump back and forth if need, or you can just close down right from here. So I'm going to go back to the activity window. I'm going to schedule a follow-up with him, okay?
Right.
And I'm going to schedule that follow-up with him for, let's say, Monday. And I'm going to put it on my activity, even though, just so we can see what's going to be happening. The type, it was an actual phone call, and the reason was it's a sales call subsequent. Those items are important later when some of the charting that SuiteFlow will do for you, you can actually run your numbers, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so I'm done with that particular item. So I'm just going to close that down. And now that activity is logged in my topic. And there is a number 1 here not because I have one activity, but because I have one scheduled follow-up that is going to be done. So numbers only appear here when you've got activity down here that needs to be followed up with.
Okay.
All right, so now if we go and look at our phases, so we'll go back to the home screen, go to phases, I'll go to my team phases, and now here under MERS, if I go to that phase and I'm wondering what all has happened, I can click here under activity. And I've done something wrong. Trust me, the activity will normally show up right here. And you can see then everything that you've been communicating about this particular phase with that person. And while you're on this phase, you're working with the topic, but you're also seeing all of the other phases that at this point right here are incomplete, or you could choose all, and it's going to be about the same except we completed the coffee. So what that's going to get you now, Alex, so I'll go back to topics. I'm going to list all and scroll up to the top of the screen. Here's the topic that we've created. All of these sales topics then will be gone after a period of time, and they will all be phases underneath the one topic. Is that what you were after?
That's what I was after. And then now the next question is, okay, so I don't sell. Let's take one like, let's take my Dirndl right there.
Okay.
Okay, so I didn't sell them for this next issue, but I'm not going to stop that process. I'm going to recontact them again for the next issue.
Totally.
So how do I get them from being a phase in this issue and just transport them to being a phase to the next issue?
And you know the answer to your question, and you're going to remember. Because all you have to do is come to Phase Master Sets and create a new Phase Master Set called Advertisers. And here, you're going to list every potential advertiser that you could possibly have.
Okay.
And you're going to constantly be embellishing this list. And so we're going to go ahead and add 2 just so you can see here. And I'll add the 2 that we did. Okay, Rondo. And this is just to give you, in essence, a task list, right? And so now when I go back to that topic, and I come to phases, and we'll go ahead and add them even though they're here. I'll click here. And now, so as I'm starting each new issue, I just come and I choose those 2 items. Click this link, yes. And it adds them, and look, it sorted them. It put them because they were where they were ranked. So you could, if you wanted, give all of your advertisers, a ranking of like 99 or 50 so that they'd be at the bottom of the list, but you could activate them all.
So then when I go to create the next topic of DFM 2019 July August,
right,
I would have already created these master phases for the production part and the advertiser part, and I just click them and add them to that topic, and we're right back where we started right here.
Yeah, and do you see that just by doing a little work up front, then how you get the benefit of that?
Absolutely. I'm not looking for spreadsheets and notes and stuff all over the place.
Right.
Okay. Very good.
We good?
We're good.
All right, guys. Thank you all for listening to the SuiteCast. Hopefully you stayed with us this long. We're out, but we'll be back. Thanks now. Bye-bye.